Hello and welcome back to episode 6 of Wafflin Around with your hosts, Chris Stamos and Tyler Sayuda. And today we're bringing you what could be quite the controversial topic. So, Tyler, why don't you talk to us about what you've been thinking?
Yeah, so every average person, they're like, "Oh yeah, these NHL goalies, they should have made that save." Like, "Oh, that's like easiest save ever. I could get the average Joe Schmo off the streets and he could make that save." But I mean, obviously they're trained pros. Sometimes they're gonna have mistakes, and with more shots, there's more room for failure, essentially. And that's really what we're looking to talk about today is the room for failure when it comes to NHL goalies in the NHL. So, recently there's been a lot of controversy over like the RVH and other new techniques, like maybe even the Panda, stuff like that. But the RVH primarily is what is getting like hit on the head with the controversy. And
Right.
that's mostly just because it's getting used so much. So, you're getting more low angle shots. You got to play that low angle a little bit better. Um, Now, the question is, are you overusing it or are you using it just enough? Because when you start overusing it, that's when you're going to get sniped over your shoulders, near your ear, or even a shot off like your head behind the net, like stuff like that.
Even far side, too.
Oh, yeah. Especially when you're like a RVH and the puck's not even close to being near the goal line. Like
Right.
maybe it's towards the dot and you're still RVHing. There's a big problem. Um,
Right.
but I mean, it's definitely something that these pro guys need to incorporate into their game. But I think it's such a new technique that they're still misusing it. And I mean, if you do get scored on in the RVH, most of the time it's just because it was a good shot, plain and simple.
Right. But
So,
with that
go.
good shot comes other ways to save it, right?
Well, for sure.
Um, but it is common. Everybody, they like to talk their smack about the RVH. And I'm here to say I've been using it for many years and I use it a lot, like almost too much. Like I play most of my game in the RVH. I don't know why. I just always have just something I do and I can confidently say I don't get scored on in the RVH too much just because I know my limits with it. I know I can react to pucks that I'm not necessarily square to, but at the end of the day, I think you incorporate it when you need to, how you feel it works. And NHL goalies aren't bad because they get scored on short side in the RVH. It happens. It
It
does.
does.
I mean, to put it to you this way, NHL goalies are getting better, but so are NHL shooters. And when your NHL shooters get better, they're going to beat your NHL level goalies. It's just how it goes. Everybody lets in a squeaker, everybody lets in a bad goal. I mean, the RVH is simply there to prevent short side goals, just like the butterflies to prevent 5-hole goals, but there's still 5-hole goals. So,
Speaking of which, Bobrovsky last night, did you see that one?
yeah, but I mean, the guy's a tank. Give him the MVP already.
But it's like we were saying, right? It's like there are some
Right.
mistakes that are allowed to be
Why aren't
made,
we attacking him for using the butterfly? Too late.
right?
Goes
Like,
5-hole, like it's a bad goal, yeah, but just because it's like a technique that's been drilled in, it's just a little mishap.
yeah,
No,
or it's
not with the
like,
RVA. It's straight to the throat, like you're donezo, buddy.
well, some of the coaches will even say, you got to hold your feet. I'm like, if I hold my feet, I'm going to get scored on 5-hole. Like, in
Right,
that situation,
right,
Bobrovsky held his feet too long, and that's why he got
right.
scored
Patience is a virtue, but not in that case.
on. Sometimes you got to realize he doesn't have any other option to shoot it once he loads
Right,
his stick.
right,
So, but another thing with the RVH, right? We're seeing a lot more low angle shots than we have in previous years. We're also seeing a lot more attempts from behind the net,
right. I mean,
and
skating getting good, so they're
for
able
sure,
to take those shots.
for sure. And I got another point to tie into this one, but essentially, the more shots you're seeing from a low angle, the more chance there is for that shot to go in.
Right,
That's why you keep seeing everybody clowning on these goalies for using the RVH, is because nowadays there's more shots where you should be using the RVH.
Right. It's
or
like
an
flipping a pen
overlap.
100 times. Like you're gonna get more heads, you're gonna get more tails. It's gonna happen. Like it's ratios, you
Right.
know?
Naturally, the more shots the shooter takes, the more they're going to score.
Right. And then variate it to low angle and you have yourself low angle goals. That's just it's part of the game.
Plain and simple.
Part of the game. And I know a lot of guys, college friends, including them, they like low angle shots. They like bad angle shots. They score short side a lot. Like at our lower levels of college and lower levels of junior hockey, goalies don't really know how to play the short side as well. They're not as good, you know? And if they give you the short side, you're going to be able to pick it. I think in my opinion, low level skaters are better than low level goalies. That's a
Yeah.
hot take.
Well, so I got a point to tie into that for you. So, you remember that article I sent you the other day?
I do.
Essentially, what it was saying is goalies take longer to develop than players. And that's
Mhm.
essentially just because of players have the chance to break down each rep after they've completed their rep, whereas goalies are kind of just cramming all of the information in, trying to process each rep after the drills are over.
Right.
So USA Hockey basically said in their newest coaching symposium that they're trying to figure out a way to get goalies to develop quicker because as of now, most of the time goalies don't they're not fully developed until they're 24 years old. And that's just because they're tweaking. Like they're trying to process, they're trying to tweak, and they're just trying to put it all together.
They're tweaking.
They're tweaking. They just got to figure it out.
They're losing it.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I've seen that. I've seen that. I've heard that. I've seen that for years now. And I mean, honestly, like, I just simply think, like, I don't want to say being a skater is easier, but there's more of it out there. You know
For
what I
sure.
mean?
For
Like, the
sure.
hockey world is small, right? And
Yeah.
then, hockey how to's are even smaller. And then hockey goalie how to's are like this margin
Right.
compared to, like, what you can learn as a skater.
Well, the other thing is, right? Like any player could be a coach for players, right?
Right.
But to be qualified as a goalie coach, you have to I'd almost say you have to be a goalie to be a goalie coach.
100%.
So
100%. Even
there's
100. I'm 110% on that.
naturally there's going to be less goalie coaches because there's naturally less goalies.
Right.
Obviously, you only need 2 or 3 per team, whereas skaters you're having 19, 20 a team. Like so
Up to 30, you never know.
for sure, especially in like the NCDC this year, they got the unlimited age outs. So I mean,
Be
that's
30, 20 bombs on a team, dude.
that's wild. Like it's
I mean, the
almost
null, the null has had that rule forever, and they don't have all 20 bombs. So
oh for sure.
I don't think you 06s and 07s should be scared, but I mean, it definitely brings you back a little bit.
For sure. Yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah, I mean, less goalies, less goalie coaches, less material, less for you to find, less for you to learn. It does definitely hinder your ability to develop at a younger age. Plain and simple.
and the other aspect of the goalie coaching is as a player, you're getting all these reps, you're practicing the exact same skills every single time. Whereas a goalie, you're reacting to a different play every single time because the skater can't do the exact same move every single time. Something is going to be
Right.
slightly different each play. And as a
Hmm.
goalie, you just have to recognize similar patterns and kind of mesh them together to get
Right.
a prediction of what's going to happen.
Pattern recognizing skills are a tough skill for younger kids to pick up on. So I can see that being a huge factor in why there's not a lot of goalies because I can't keep up. I'm not as good. Um, and B, just simply not enough good goalie coaches. I think there's probably many goalie coaches that have lost students or lost goalies to just poor coaching. Just not being able to coach kids correctly and not allow them to develop at the rate they're supposed to, and try and pushing them too hard or doing drills that aren't right for them and ruining it for the kid.
Yeah, and that's I mean, you definitely got to tune into your goalie and work on what he needs to work on. And I think that's like especially prevalent when it comes to the NHL. Like they'll tweak their systems so that they allow up shots that the goalies are better at saving
Right.
statistically.
Mhm.
And I mean, I think if junior level goalies could incorporate that, or even like lower level, like goalies, like if you put that in the process and you say, with this goalie, we're going to try to force more shots to the outside, then I think you're going to have better odds of keeping the puck out of your net.
Yeah, I mean, that's a high level coaching play, Like Bobrovsky has one of the best blockers in the league. Try and get these guys shooting short side. Try and get shooting far side on the weak side. I mean, however you want to go about it, you go about it. But I mean, I think that makes a goalie appear much better is when they're not getting scored on as much because they're not facing what they're bad at.
Exactly. I mean, it's just if you're not good at it, prevent that from happening.
Right. Like
Like,
if like it's like a bad defenseman. If he's too slow to catch up on an odd man rush, play back and don't allow an odd man rush.
right, give the blue a little earlier and let him
Right.
skate
If
to
your
you.
enforcer is just an idiot bozo that runs around taking penalties, don't give him as much leeway to go take penalties.
Yep.
There's
So,
preventative measures that could be taken. So why not do
exactly.
that with your goalies?
Exactly. Um, Another thing I was going to tie in because we were talking about goalie development. In your opinion, do you think that taller goalies are picked not just for their height, but also for their hockey IQ?
Okay. Um, at the higher level, yes. At the lower level, no. Hockey IQ obviously comes with time, it comes with age, and it comes with playing experience. At a young age, if you're tall, you're just tall. Like you have no more experience than the next guy, than the next guy, than the next guy. So, in my opinion, it depends on the age. At the NHL level, you could be tall, lanky, perfect goalie build, and still have a horrible hockey IQ.
But you're still going to make
At
some
the younger,
saves.
right, you're still tall. You're tall. You have height. You know, you're a
Can't
good
coach
friend.
height.
But I think at the lower levels, you're not picking a goalie based on their height. I think you're picking it based on their ability. I think that should be the rule all the way around. Like, look at Saros. You see Saros. You see Colin Delia. I'm just trying to find like short guys. It's hard. Scott Wedgwood. I mean, these are guys I'm naming that are shorter than me, and I'm considered short. And I mean, they still have great hockey IQ, amazing hockey IQ. Actually, some of the best I've ever seen. And they can just pick up the small things so quickly and so easily. So I don't think you have to, that tall goalies necessarily lead the IQ department. I just think they lead the play simple, play efficient, play effective, and that's what makes them good.
So
Yes,
you
they do need the IQ to play efficiently and effectively, but I don't think that they're the only goalies that could have a good IQ or need a good IQ. I think small athletic goalies do need a hockey IQ.
so would you say that small goalies might have a better hockey IQ than bigger goalies just because they have to do
I mean,
more to
honestly,
compensate
yeah,
than the bigger
yeah,
goalies?
you have to compensate for your size, right? Like you need to know your depth management a lot better. You need to know your angles a lot better. You need to have, your squareness, positioning. All of that ties into knowing the game, knowing where you need to be, and knowing where you're going to go. So I think, in all honesty, if you're a smarter goalie that's on the shorter side, you're giving yourself the best odds to be better.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely heard some opinions saying that like the taller goalies or I guess the less quick goalies have a higher hockey IQ than the faster ones. So that could be like just among the tall goalies though. Like the fast goalies that are tall have more hockey IQ,
I mean,
less
this
hockey IQ.
that kind of brings me to another point. Is like, is hockey IQ as a goaltender just being a good guesser?
A good pattern recognizer.
Right, a good yeah pattern recognizer. Are you just scanning well? You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, I guess it kind of boils down to
and
like the small things, right? Like you're looking to pick up if he's a right-handed or left-handed shot, um, where your defensemen
tendencies,
are in relation to the shooter. Kind of give yourself
knowing the other guy, yeah, stuff
for
like that.
sure.
But like as a skater, I think hockey IQ is more clear cut.
Yeah,
Like you
definitely.
know when to do a move, you know when to throw a pass, who to throw a pass to, stuff like that. That's very clear cut. Like you
Yeah,
could see that as a goalie. It's like, I mean, how can you display you have good hockey IQ? I mean,
right.
I guess just beating a play here and there when you get the
Well, even
opportunity.
then, like it's sometimes these pucks are moving so fast you can't get there on time. Like you
Right.
got to
And
take uh, an angle to the post just so that you can make the save.
right.
Like,
Just to compensate for, how quick it moved. It's tough. I think you need an IQ to be a hockey player. You just need to know the game to be able to play hockey. It's so quick. It's so fast. It's the fastest sport in the world. So I think any hockey player needs an IQ, but if you do lack the skill, build your IQ, build your pattern recognizing, work on that kind of stuff, and then you're gonna see a big jump in your game without improving your on ice skill.
hmm yeah, I mean, the best way to do that is just to watch hockey. Honestly,
Yeah, and
you
so
just
to
got to see
round up
the
your
patterns.
question, I think they're not picked specifically for their IQ. I think they're picked specifically because they're tall, and that gives them the advantage over the shorter guys. So I don't think the IQ has anything to do with it. I think it's just because they're taller. I think that's
Okay,
simply why they're picked.
gotcha, gotcha.
Take them more than that.
Yeah,
Nothing
I
else.
mean, plain and simple, can't coach height.
Right? You can't. You can feed it.
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
Tyler. Do NHL goalies really suck?
Yeah, no, I mean, do NHL goalies really suck? That's the big question here, right? Um, no, plain and simple, they don't suck.
Mm-mm.
They're the best at the what they do. That's why they play at the highest level. That's why they get paid. Do they make mistakes? Of course, everybody makes mistakes. That's what happens when you're human. Um, so no,
Yeah,
they don't
they're gonna
suck.
give up a bad goal. They're gonna have an off day. NHL goalies do not suck. Don't come after us. Listen to the podcast. Listen to it all the way. Um, but at the end of the day, no, NHL goalies don't suck.
No,
They're good. They're
for
the
sure.
best they do. Like Tyler said, 100%. So, with my hot take, kind of want to hear what you're thinking on my hot take.
Um, let's
Hold on, let me
repeat
explain.
your hot take
Repeat my
just
hot
so
take.
we're on the
Just
same
to give a
page.
refresher. But do you genuinely think low level goalies are worse than low level shooters? So I'm talking when I say low level, I don't mean house league. I'm talking like low end college and low end junior, like tier three junior, and club college stuff like that.
So, do I think low level shooters are better than low level goalies?
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
And
All right. We agree for once.
um,
Podcast. That's awesome.
I mean, I essentially just think that goes down to what we were talking about earlier with the goalie
Mm-hmm.
development. Goalies are just lacking, honestly. So they just they just
He's
can't
firing.
catch up.
He's
Yeah, I
firing
mean,
at his own kind.
it's a hot take. I mean,
The
I
goalies
think
are lacking. We
I
suck. We
I think the
slack.
goalies lack the ability to um, progress their game as quick as players do.
Okay. I have a different theory as to why that might be, like, why my take might be true.
Well, I have a feeling I might know kind of what it is.
The numbers game here, Ty.
Well, let's go ahead and then
Think
I'll
about it.
I'll, I'll
There's
jump
more
onto that
shooters. There's way more shooters than goalies.
for sure.
So the amount of shooters that get cut are just way larger than the amount of goalies that get cut. Your available players, as like, let's just say you're a college team, you're a club college team, ACHA D2. We'll just put it that way. You have huge numbers of skaters that could potentially play in your level and succeed and not be so good. You have such a big number of skaters that you could cut so many guys and build the best roster possible. There's goalies you're only getting 4 or 5. if maybe sometimes even 2 or 3 are interested in your
Right.
school and in your program, you're gonna take what you can get, and they might be
Hmm.
bad, they might be horrible, you know? They might have the grades and they might be good enough. So, I personally think it's down to numbers. You have this amount of skaters, you have this amount of goalies. You could cut so many skaters and make a good team, but you sometimes are just left kinda handcuffed with bad goalies, and I don't know. I think it's due to numbers, you know?
Yeah, I
Good
mean,
goalies kinda get soaked up pretty quick.
for sure. Especially like if you're a good goalie, coaches are gonna want you, plain and simple.
100%, easily.
So at that
No
point, it's you get to pick where you want to go. They don't get to have you. You
right.
get to have them.
You're obviously almost always picking the higher level unless you have no interest or
For
something,
sure.
but that's
Or maybe
beyond
injuries or something.
you're right, that's beyond, normal thinking.
So
So
my other thought behind why skaters might be better, well, I got two kind of. One of it, one of them is the skaters collectively, the five of them, are able to work together better than the goalie can work with his team by himself. Because the
fair point.
skaters have more chemistry than, I mean, the goalie doesn't know what his team's going to do, right? He should,
He has an idea. He has an idea.
but is that ever going to
But
happen
goals are
exactly how you
caused by
think?
mistakes in front of you, and so I think regardless, there's gonna be obviously something wrong.
And that's essentially what the other team's trying to capitalize on is your mistakes. So you're not going to be able to anticipate your guys' mistakes. You're going to have to react to your guys' mistakes, and then they're going to capitalize on it. But my other thought behind that was these low-level skaters. Sometimes they don't always know where the puck's going. So,
Fair enough. It's a
um,
it's a bad
sometimes you're just
guessing
ripping
game.
it on the net, and if the shooter doesn't know where it's going, no way the goalie knows. It's
Probably
impossible.
not. Probably not. No, I can see that. The game is a lot less predictable at the lower levels, I will say.
Yeah,
From bouncing from, beer league to junior to, just seeing the game at a house league level because I
for
coach
sure.
it. Like it's so much less predictable.
Yeah,
Like you get Joe Schmo who sucks at hockey, and you get,
Wayne
Bob who's
Gretzky.
really good. He's above his level, and they throw together some of the most funky plays ever, but they're scoring goals. Like
Right,
you don't know. You just don't
right.
know.
And sometimes you just need to have one good player to be a good player.
Right.
Like,
So
makes you look good.
honestly, you're right. I think it's easier for a player to look good. You have your good line mates. You can feed into a system well. As a goalie, I think you just stopping the puck is the same no matter where you're at or
Yeah,
no matter what team, what league. It's harder to be good. I
yeah.
think it's a lot harder to be good. You solely have to be good. You can't have somebody good on your team. Like, yeah, you could come at me and say like, oh, you could have a really good team in front of you. They're good defensively. They still break down.
There's still
If
going to
you
be
let up,
mistakes made.
if you allow every single breakdown, then you're not a good goalie. You're not helping your team win. As a skater, yeah, you break down once or twice. Okay, you're a -1, -2. It's not horrible. As a goalie, you're letting up those goals. It's like, all right, man,
What if
like
there
our
were only two breakdowns and you let in both
right,
goals?
right, exactly. Then you're not doing so well. So I think it's a lot harder to be a good goalie. I think it is, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
with a
want to.
better
I don't
team,
want
you're
to pat
allowing
ourselves on the back, but I'm just saying. I think
with
it's
a
difficult.
better team, you're allowing less shots. So
Right.
statistically, if you let in one goal and you only see 10 shots, it's a 900, right? But if you let in three goals and you get 30 shots, it's still a 900. You know what I'm saying?
But
Like,
who did better?
right,
Who did better?
right. I'd say the guy with 30 shots did better. He
Right.
made 27 saves, and the other guy only made nine.
He's probably dripping in sweat.
Oh, yeah.
Buddy over there, he's dry. He
Oh, yeah.
doesn't have to take a shower after the
No,
game.
no,
Facing 3 shots a period,
no.
plus
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it is harder to be a goalie than a skater.
Oh,
That's
definitely.
I mean, it's a hot take. Again, here we go with the hot takes, but I definitely think so. So, guys, to keep things a little bit more recently, as we wrap up this week's episode, We're going to talk about other people's ideas and how they feel about goalies, specifically two that we're going to talk about, and how they feel about them because we're kind of done talking about how we feel about stuff. So, Ty, I know you're not up to date with hockey. You're not, too keen on the NHL. You focus on yourself a little bit more than others.
Yeah, but I'm a busy guy playing hockey, so
Oh,
dissecting my own game.
ooh. Yeah, he's sticking to his own game. But last year's Cup final, Vegas wins against Florida, and all the talk is Aiden Hill's no good. He's just an AHL call up. He's running on adrenaline. La 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 la. Now this year, we've got Stuart Skinner sucks. He's such a bad goal. He's got like an 870 save percentage. His team just scores more goals than the competition does, and he gets by. I
That's how you
agree.
win games.
I agree. The guy hasn't been playing good, but Aiden Hill this year comes back from a Cup final, does phenomenally. The guy does great. I think had like a 925 save percentage through his first 20 starts or something. Phenomenal. Almost couldn't beat him. Like the guy was almost unbeatable. Obviously, Vegas fizzles out. They're not so good. He doesn't make the playoffs, or did they? They did make the playoffs, but he wasn't getting as many starts. Kind of fell off at the end of the year. Fine. Guy still proved he could do it consistently. Now Stuart Skinner, I think he's only been in the league 4 or 5 years. Maybe this is his fifth year. In the Cup Finals, didn't play awfully in the first two games of the final. Obviously, Bobrovsky's just been a hell of a lot better, but he hasn't played horribly. But his first half of the playoffs were genuinely bad. Like sub 880 save percentage. Got pulled a couple times. Like just simple stuff that like, okay, dude, you should have had that. Like a lot of bad angle goals, a lot of people talking about his RVH and stuff
Yeah.
like we were earlier. Um I just want to know, Ty, you're in his position. What are you feeling? Like what's going through your head?
Well, I mean, obviously, nobody wants to get scored on, right?
Easily.
Sometimes that's taxing on you. You're like, why am I getting scored on so much? But then you also got to remember, it's like I'm playing at the highest level of competition with the highest level of players. And I mean, at the end
I'm
of the
gonna get
day,
scored on.
yeah, exactly. It's my job to make it hard for them to score.
Right.
It's my job to put myself in a position to make the save. It's not my job to make the save. It's to put myself in a position to make the save.
Right. So you're Stuart Skinner right now. You're 0-2 in the series. Your game's looking a little bit better than normal. Series ends, let's just say my guesstimate Florida wins in five. Oilers maybe squeak out a home win. It's my thought process. I guarantee it's gonna be wrong and everybody's gonna come back to this video and be like, oh it didn't age well.
Yeah,
But
everybody that watches.
so let's just say Florida wins in five. You're Stuart Skinner. How are you attacking your offseason?
I'm definitely watching a lot of film. I think
Okay.
it's definitely a good idea to uh, get a different perspective of yourself playing goal.
Right.
Um, Obviously, you know where you're getting scored on. The NHL has so many advanced analytics. You basically can see every single shot they take on you and break that down frame
Right.
by frame. So, I mean, I'm personally going to break down every single goal I allow, whether that's two or whether that's 1,000. I am going to make sure that if there's a pattern of me getting scored on, that gets fixed. I can't be predictably scored on. That's my goal. Is if I'm gonna get scored on, I want it to be from something weird, like
Yeah.
something different every time.
I mean, I agree. It's gotta be different. Can't be consistently bad at something,
Right.
right? I mean, consistency is good, but not at being bad.
Well, and that's part of what we talked about earlier, right? You're playing to your weaknesses or your strengths. So now over the off season, you're working on your weaknesses so that they can become strengths. and then you can adjust the system, make sure that they're playing more aggressive. I'd say instead of trying to keep these shots out, they can forecheck them a little bit or press them in the D zone and get the puck moving to the other end of the zone.
Agreed. I think that's a good plan. I mean, obviously these pros they have their own plans. They know what works for them, but I think if you're Stuart Skinner, you're just kind of like, hey, you're probably not happy with your personal performance. I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he feels like he's playing his best. Probably not. I wouldn't say he is. Um, but I mean, he's a 5-year NHL player,
7.
maybe 4, something like
7.
that.
I look.
7,
2017 draft, 2018 for the Oilers.
really? Okay.
Also, what's up with Soupy not coming back? What he's stuck
Oh,
in the minors.
yeah, dude just kind of went to the void, just kind of gone.
He's washed.
One of the highest paid AHLers. I
Yeah,
can confidently say
for
that.
sure. You
Oh,
imagine?
brother. But yeah, Skinner took that job and ran with it because he did so well in the regular season the last couple of years, All Star and shit. But not doing so hot at the big stage. I would personally say that I'd revamp my off ice, my my off season, and kind of just build back to the regular season and be more prepared.
For sure. What's up
Also
with
doesn't
this?
help his decor sucks.
Oh
They're
yeah,
horrible.
yeah. Edmonton's not a great team.
No, they don't belong in the cup final. I
They're
mean,
just
I think time and time again we find teams in the cup final that don't belong there.
I
Florida
mean,
last year, Canadians 2020 or 2021, shouldn't have been there. I think the last like really good cup final, and even then it's kind of like pushing it, was like Vegas and Washington. Like that was actually like a fun series to watch. A lot of close games, but my favorite, coming from a Blackhawks fan, is the Hawks beating Tampa. I think that was great. Kind of super fun to watch. I missed that.
so I just pulled up some statistics on Stuart Skinner because I just wanted to kind of see how he's doing. Right for the playoffs, he's got a 896, and the league average is a 902. So he's below average, but not by much. His high danger save percentage is 832. The league blah, 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 blah. The league average for playoffs is a 786, and he has an 832. So
Wow. Wow, he's way above.
the mid range, uh, Stuart Skinner has an 877. League average is an 886.
Okay.
So a little under there. Um,
I think this is going to be his downfall right here, is the bad percentage.
yeah. And then the goals for average is a 3.23, and the league average is a 2.3.
So his team is scoring a goal extra a game.
Yeah, that's the goals.
That helps. That
Yeah,
helps a lot.
for sure.
I mean, the
Uh,
guy doesn't face any shots. His team is always in the O zone. It's horrible. Like, imagine putting 50 shots on that guy. You might have 10 goals.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm shit talking an NHL goalie. I'll never be an NHL goalie.
Uh, I'm gonna make sure I remind myself in post to put up a picture of Stuart Skinner right here. This stash is unreal.
Dude, he's a beauty.
Holy, it's wild.
I'm trying to get there. It's not looking so good, but
He's
we'll be there one day.
Stuart Skinner's in playoffs is 11-7.
I love Stuart Skinner as a regular season hockey player. He's one of my favorite goalies. He just plays so well, and then playoffs come around, and I'll shit on him. But yeah, he's kind of got swagger. He's got he's just his Instagram. He lives it up in the off season, which I think is awesome. But yeah, he's just not doing so hot right now.
And
When
then
I'm at
I'm also gonna put in like the statistic from NHLEdge.com. of like all of the goals against for the locations and just kind of give that visual for the audience. But
Cool.
I mean, he has 15 goals against from within probably 10 feet of the crease, and they're all in the slot. So those are acceptable.
Yeah, but how about all the bad angle ones? Do you still are those showing?
I got 3 in RVH territory, 2
Yep.
from hold your feet positioning,
Yep.
and then I got 5 from his blocker side, um, and mid range, and then
Yeah.
6 from middle. So middle
But yeah.
middle's hard to stop
Those
though. I'm not gonna
those
lie.
bad like should have hold your feet goals. Those came at like the same time in bad losses, so like that obviously is gonna make him seem like he's doing a lot worse than he is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just it's cool to see all the stats. I'm glad NHL is keeping those. I mean, I think that's all we got for today.
Proves he's not horrible, but yeah,
Yeah, he's not a bad goalie. NHL
no,
goalies don't suck.
NHL goalies don't suck. Stuart Skinner doesn't suck.
He's just below
Bobrovsky doesn't.
average.
Yeah, he's just slightly below average, but he's above average in general.
Yeah, he's playing in the NHL. So
But yeah, NHL goalies don't suck. To wrap up the video,
no, they don't.
and Chris and Tyler brought that to you. So if anybody asks, we
NHL
told
goalies don't suck.
we told you.
You can quote us on that.
Quote us. Put it everywhere. Put it on trees. Staple it to cars. I don't know.
Yeah, make sure it goes on X.
Yeah, put that. Quote it. Chris Stamos. NHL
And
goalies
then you
don't.
got to put the timestamp from our podcast.
Yeah, just shout the podcast out.
Yeah, give a shout. Make sure you tell your friends.
Yeah, but we appreciate you guys listening. It was a lot of fun to record this one. I think me and Tyler got to speak our minds a little bit more freely today, which
Yeah,
hope you guys enjoy. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
yeah.
You
Have
can
a good
find us
one.
at the same spot, same time.
Same spot, same time. I don't know about that one, pal. Can't promise
Oh,
that.
oh. All right. Well, we'll see
Jeez,
you.
buddy. We'll see. We'll see.